All right, so today we are talking about latitude. Latitude are the lines that run west to east. So latitude, flatitude, latitude, fatitude, whatever works for you. You guys should have some notes in front of you that need to be filled in. This is the page that you're going to fill them in on. So the first one says that lines of latitude are measured in degrees. Degrees are this little circle up here that you can find in your symbols on your Chromebooks if you need to do it there. I can always show you. Next, lines of latitude start at the equator with 0. So if we look at our picture on the left, the equator, this red line right here, is 0 degrees. So from the way bottom of the globe all the way to the top, there's 180 degrees in all. What that means is from the equator all the way to the North Pole, there's 90 degrees. And from the equator to the South Pole, there's 90 degrees. So 90 plus 90 is 180 degrees in total. There are no more than 180 degrees. And the top numbers you see are going to be 90, and the bottom number in the south is going to be 90 as well. Something interesting about lines of latitude are that they will never touch. If you put your finger on a line and swirl the globe around, your finger will stay on that exact line. They run west to east. So they go around the globe almost like hugging it, west to east. The longest line of latitude is going to be the equator because that's at the fattest part of the earth. And as you go up, 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 all the way to the north, or as you go down all the way to the south, they're going to get smaller and smaller. And that is it. So pause, take a second. If you didn't get everything, get it down now. Next, latitude runs in east to west direction, like we said, but it measures how far north and how far south you go. So we're going to take my little dude here and put him on the ladder. And then we can make, let's make this line right here. Let me make it red. This will be like our 0 degrees. Okay, so right here is 0, and it's just like it's the equator. If my little dude right here, where he's standing, so right here on this line, if he is a degree below the line of the equator, he's going to be at 1 degree south. But if we move him down north 1, he's going to be at 2 degrees south. So as you move from the equator, his feet are on the equator, and I move down south, it's going to be 1 degree south. Another degree, 2 degrees south. So I'm measuring how far south he is of the equator, or I can measure, if I start here, how far north of the equator goes. So if he's up here, he's at 2 degrees, but now we are above the equator, so we're at 2 degrees north. So it's how far north of the equator you go, or how far south of the equator that you go. This is just another visual for you of all of the lines of latitude. Now, the equator is right here. It says 0 degrees. Okay. Our next line from there, if we go north, is 10 degrees. If we zoomed in on this globe, you would see 1 degree, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, 4, all the way to 10. Sometimes they just don't show all the degrees. To make the map more simple, a lot of times they'll count by 20s up to the North Pole and 20s down to the South Pole. This one, they're counting by 10s. All right, let's talk the tropics, because latitude lines show us climate. When you get really close to this equator, that's when it's going to be the hottest. So if you can see on here, right by my equator, it's orange. That's going to be the hottest. And as I get farther and farther up north, it gets colder and colder. Same thing, if I head from the equator south, it's going to get colder and colder, and that's where you see the purple color in the North Pole and in the south. The tropics are an area that's surrounded by the equator. So you've probably heard the word Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer. These two lines create the tropics. So they're both at the same degree mark from the equator. Tropic of Cancer is 23.5 degrees north, and the Tropic of Capricorn is at 23.5 degrees south. So all of this space in between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn is called the tropics. These places are going to be really hot, and they don't really experience many seasons. It's either going to be the rainy season or it's going to be the dry season. Either way, if it's rainy or dry, it is hot. So if we look at this question, it says, what places are in the tropics? Well, look what's in that darker blue area. We have most of Africa, so it's a really hot climate. The northern part of South America. We have all of these countries below us in North America. Northern part of Australia. And then over here in Asia, we have India right here and some of the other countries that are a little bit smaller than India. So rainforest compared to the tropics. If you look at the map we just did, where the tropics are, and look at the green on the map on the left, you can see that the most of the biggest rainforests that we have here on our globe are right in the tropics. Why? Because we have that nice warm weather, and it's also rainy there a lot of times. And then we have how the sun hits, and that's why we have our climate. How hard the sun hits in some places. So the fattest part of our Earth, which is our equator, right here, is always going to be hit directly by that sun. So no matter what, our Earth is tilted, but we still get direct hits to the equator. Same with our tropic. So here's a Tropic of Cancer, and at the bottom, Tropic of Capricorn. If you look down here at the bottom, is not getting as much sun as you would if you were closer to the equator. And same with up here, it's not getting as much sun. Because the Earth is tilted, this is showing us how we have actually summer and winter. So the Earth is tilted right now, so the southern part of the southern hemisphere is getting the most sun. That means that the southern hemisphere has summer. The northern hemisphere up here has winter. So when we have winter in the United States, we're in the northern hemisphere, so the southern hemisphere has the opposite season. Lastly, how are we plotting latitude lines? Remember, latitude, fatitude, or latitude, flatitude, whatever works for you. I think of it like a ladder because you have to hop up to each latitude line. So if we are looking at the yellow star right here, to see what latitude line it is, we're going to drag it all the way across, and it's at 40. So we need to know if this is 40 degrees north or 40 degrees south. So my suggestion is always put your line for your equator. So I know now that I'm at 40 degrees and I'm above the red line, so I'm at 40 degrees north. Right here, if I look at the blue, I come on over, I'm at 20 degrees, and I'm below the equator, so I'm at 20 degrees south. Do a few of these in your head and see if you can get them. Pause the video. And the answers, let's see, 40 degrees south for the green, 40 degrees south for black, 15 degrees south for the white, 15 degrees